They pass him every year, frozen, curved, his face turned toward the sky as if still searching for oxygen that will never come. His body sits at 8,500 meters above sea level, where the air holds only one-third the oxygen of ground level, and the temperature never rises above minus 30 degrees Celsius. He has become a landmark now, a waypoint, a warning that no one heeds. Just past Green Boots, climbers radio down from the death zone. We're making good time. But who was Green Boots? And why, after more than 25 years, does his body remain exactly where he fell? Above 8,000 meters, the human body begins to die. Not slowly, not gently. Cell by cell, organ by organ, the body consumes itself. The brain swells, blood thickens, judgment fails. Climbers have been known to remove their gloves in minus 40-degree cold, convinced they're overheating. Others sit down to rest and never stand again. This is the death zone, a realm where over 200 bodies remain frozen in place, some visible from the standard climbing routes, others hidden in crevasses that will hold them for centuries. Everest is not a mountain. It is a graveyard with a summit. The man who would become Green Boots understood this. He had trained for years. He knew the risks. On May 10, 1996, he began his final ascent with 7 other climbers, part of an Indo-Tibetan border police expedition. The weather was clear. The route was open. Everything looked perfect. But at that altitude, perfect weather can turn lethal in minutes. His name was Tsewang Paljor, 28 years old, a constable in the Indo-Tibetan border police. He had dreamed of Everest since childhood, growing up in Ladakh, where the Himalayas dominated the horizon like gods made of ice and stone. When the expedition was announced, he volunteered immediately. His team leader was Mohinder Singh, experienced, cautious, but also under pressure. The expedition had government funding, media attention, national pride riding on their backs. Turning back was not just a personal failure, it was a public one. They left Camp 6 at midnight on May 10th, headlamps cutting through darkness so complete it felt solid. The route ahead was called the Traverse, a narrow path along the northeast ridge where one misstep meant a 10,000-foot fall into Tibet. Tsewang moved carefully. His green Koflok mountaineering boots, distinctive, bright against the white snow, gripped the ice, his oxygen mask fogged with each breath. Behind him, 2 teammates, Dorje Morup and Tsewang Smanla. By 9 a.m., they should have turned back. This is the iron rule of Everest: summit by noon or descend. The mountain doesn't negotiate, but the summit was so close. Just 3 more hours, maybe 4. Singh made the decision. They would continue. It came from nowhere. One moment, the sky was cloudless. The next, the world disappeared into white. Wind speeds hit 100 miles per hour, tearing at their bodies, ripping away their sense of up and down. The temperature, already minus 40, plummeted further with wind chill. Tsewang couldn't see his hand in front of his face. The team tried to descend, but the traverse had vanished beneath fresh snow. In whiteout conditions, even experienced climbers can walk in circles, convinced they're heading down when they're actually climbing higher. Hypoxia, oxygen starvation, turns the brain into a confused, panicked animal. Somewhere in that storm, they became separated. Radio contact crackled. We're sheltering, can't move, too cold. Then silence. Rescue was impossible. At that altitude, in those conditions, a rescue team would simply create more bodies. The Indian expedition leader radioed for help anyway, his voice breaking. Japanese climbers higher on the mountain reported seeing headlamps below them, 3 lights huddled together, unmoving. The lights stayed on all night. By morning, they were gone. When the storm cleared 3 days later, a high-altitude search began. What they found made veteran climbers turn away. A small limestone cave just below the summit. Inside, 3 bodies. They had made it to shelter. They had survived the storm, but their oxygen had run out. In the death zone, without supplemental oxygen, unconsciousness comes in minutes. Death follows soon after. Tsewang Paljor was found in a half-sitting position, his back against the cave wall. His arms were wrapped around his knees. His green boots were still tied perfectly. His face, frozen mid-expression, showed neither pain nor peace, just exhaustion. Dorje Morup and Tsewang Smanla lay beside him. The cave became their tomb. At 8,500 meters, there are no burials, no cremations, no way to bring bodies down without risking more lives. The dead stay where they fall. But Tsewang Paljor didn't stay in the cave. Years of wind, shifting ice, and Everest's slow, grinding movement displaced his body. By 1998, he had slid down slope, coming to rest in a small alcove directly beside the standard Northeast Ridge Road, the path nearly every climber takes to the summit. And there, curled on his side, knees bent, arms folded, he became impossible to miss. His green boots were the first thing climbers saw. Bright, unnatural, a splash of color in an ocean of white and gray. Then the rest, his orange and black climbing suit, his face, mercifully shaded by his arm, his body perfectly preserved by the cold. Climbers began referring to him simply as Green Boots. Turn left at Green Boots. We're resting near Green Boots. Green Boots is a good place to check your oxygen. He became a waypoint, a GPS coordinate made of flesh. Climbers took photos with him, some respectful, some disturbingly casual, as if posing with a statue. On online forums, debates raged. Should he be removed? Was it disrespectful to use a dead man as a landmark? Did his family know their son had become Everest's most famous corpse? Green Boots is not alone. Just above him lies Sleeping Beauty, Frances Arsentive, an American climber who died in 1998. Her body lay exposed for 9 years, her skin bleached by UV radiation, until a group spent hours covering her with an American flag and stones. Higher up, Hannelore Schmatz, the first woman to die on Everest, frozen in a sitting position for 17 years until wind finally knocked her body down the slope. And dozens more, some visible, some hidden, some with names, most without. Each one represents the same thing, a moment when ambition exceeded ability, when weather turned, when oxygen ran out, when the mountain simply said no. The death zone doesn't care about your training, your sponsors, your dreams. It only cares whether your body can survive in an environment designed to kill you. Most can't. In 2014, controversy exploded. A Chinese team announced they would remove Green Boots as part of a cleanup operation. The news spread through the climbing community like wildfire. Some praised the decision. Finally, dignity for the dead. Others were horrified. His body had become a warning system, a grim reminder to turn back before it's too late. Then, in May 2014, climbers ascending the Northeast Ridge radioed down, Green Boots is gone. Had he been removed? Buried? Shifted by avalanche? The Chinese team refused to comment. Some climbers reported seeing a body-shaped mound of stones where Green Boots once lay. Others claimed the body had simply been moved deeper into the alcove, out of direct sunlight. To this day, no one knows for certain. But in 2017, a Reddit post appeared, I summited Everest via Northeast Ridge. Green Boots is still there. They just moved him. Attached was a photo, blurry, taken from a distance, showing a flash of green and orange in the shadows. Tsewang Paljor's family learned of his death from a newspaper. His mother, Tashi Angmo, refused to believe it at first. He was so strong, she told reporters, he would not just die on a mountain. But as weeks turned to months with no word, no body returned, the reality set in. For years, she kept his room exactly as he left it. His uniform hung in the closet. His photos covered the walls. Every night, she lit a butter lamp and prayed he would find peace. She never knew her son had become Green Boots. The family wasn't informed that his body was visible, photographed, used as a navigational landmark. In Ladakhi Buddhist tradition, the body is sacred. To leave it exposed, unblessed, is a spiritual catastrophe. When reporters finally told her in 2006, she wept. Bring him home, she begged. Please, just bring him home. But no one could. The cost to remove a body from 8,500 meters exceeds $200,000. The risk to Sherpa recovery teams is immense. Several have died attempting body retrievals, and even if successful, the body would likely break apart during descent, frozen solid and brittle as glass. Tsewang Paljor will remain on Everest. Forever. Here is what haunts every climber who passes Green Boots. Could he have survived? The cave was shelter. His oxygen lasted for hours. If he had descended just 3 hours earlier, if Singh had enforced the turnaround time, he would have been below the storm. Safe. But he chose to continue. They all did. And that's the terrible truth about Everest. It doesn't kill randomly. It kills those who stay too long, push too hard, ignore the signs. The mountain gives warnings. Exhaustion. Slow pace. Bad weather building on the horizon. Green Boots ignored them all. Does that make his death a tragedy or a consequence? Climbers argue this endlessly. Some say Everest is a choice, no one forces you to climb. Others point out that for Sherpas, guiding is survival, not recreation. They risk death so Westerners can take summit photos. And what about the 200 plus other bodies? Should they all be removed? At what cost? Who decides which corpses deserve retrieval and which remain as landmarks? There are no easy answers at 8,500 meters. Today, Green Boots remains the most recognized death on Everest. Not because his story is unique, dozens have died the same way, but because his body became inescapable. You can't summit via the Northeast Ridge without confronting him, without wondering, could that be me? Some climbers report feeling watched as they pass. Others claim they heard breathing, ragged, desperate, though they knew logically it was just wind through ice. A few have turned back entirely after seeing him, their summit dreams abandoned in the face of what failure actually looks like. He has saved lives, ironically, by simply being there. But he was a person, Tsewang Paljor, son, brother, dreamer. A man who wanted to stand on top of the world and instead became a permanent fixture on its slope. His green boots still shine in the sun, his body still curves against the ice, and every year hundreds pass him on their way to glory. Some stop, some pray, some don't look at all, but they all know his name now, even if they never learned it. Mohinder Singh, the expedition leader, survived the 1996 disaster. He never climbed again. In interviews, his voice shakes when discussing Tsewang. I see him every night, Singh said in 2004. I see all three of them. They trusted me. I failed them. He lives in New Delhi now. Quiet, haunted. The mountain doesn't just kill climbers. It kills everyone who loved them. But the question remains, hanging in the thin air of the death zone. If you were at 8,400 meters, with the summit just 2 hours away and the weather beginning to turn, would you descend, or would you take just one more step? Green Boots thought he had time. He was wrong.